Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in yet another video on this channel. And this is going to be a pretty important video because by the time this video is published, India would have already entered into the Mars Mahadasha. And you know, this Mahadasha is a is a 7-year period, right? And when you look at Mars Mahadasha, I mean, I've been getting a lot of questions, okay, for about this Mahadasha and how it is going to be, and most of this curiosity from the people is usually originates from fear, right? It originates from fear. So, regarding the questions as well as regarding the queries from many people, regarding this Mahadasha, I can safely assume now I'm not trying to make a negative prediction. Okay, it's very important to know what awaits us because that is the job of the Vedic astrologer to tell you what awaits you in the next, in the next coming years or in the upcoming years. So Mars Dasha is, as I said, it's a period of 7 years, and this Mars Mahadasha is not going to be a very good one for India. Why? Because first of all, India has has a Taurus Lagna, which is ruled by Venus, and Mars and Venus are, they are not friends. They don't like each other. Okay, so if you take the horoscope based on India's Independence Day on the 15th of May, on the 15th May, and on a midnight of 15th August 1947, it shows a Taurus Lagna horoscope, and Rahu is sitting in the ascendant itself, and Mars is sitting in the second house, and Mars is in the Ardra Nakshatra of Gemini, and it is a Marak planet for India's horoscope. Why? Because it is the lord of the seventh as well as the lord of the 12th. And if you look at Mars itself, it's sitting in the Marak house, which is the second house, and it is an Ardra nakshatra. Now, Ardra is a very difficult nakshatra to overcome, particularly because it is ruled by Rudra, and that makes this nakshatra very, very intense. But then, if you look at Mars itself, the position of Mars itself, it is in a Pap Kartari Yoga because it is placed or sandwiched between Rahu and Saturn. So, Mars is stuck between these two sinful planets. So, you know, uh, based on the perspectives which I mentioned right now, you can actually understand if you are a student of astrology, if you are a follower of Vedic astrology, you'll understand that this is not going to be a very smooth period for India as a country because it is going to be filled with obstacles. And remember, 12th house as well as 7th house are not considered to be very good houses because one is the house of loss and the other is the house of rivalry, the house of enemies. It represents the other people. So, India, till the end of Mars Mahadasha, is going to face a lot of competition. And Mars Mahadasha, it starts from the 11th of September and it's going to last till 2032. And there is a high possibility that India is going to face cutthroat competition. You already see things unfolding on the global stage with America, putting so much of tariffs on India and Indian businesses. And this competition has all the possibilities of becoming dirty. Okay, and because Mars rules the 12th house of India, so it's going to bring some kind of losses in some form or the other. Okay, and remember, Mars is also the lord of the seventh house, and seventh house represents the house of war. So, you will see that India might get caught, in a war because Mars is the god of action, Mars is the god of violence, Mars is the god of war. So, not only Mars being Mars also being the lord of the seventh house, there is every possibility that there could be some war which India may be fighting with internal enemies. Because remember, Rahu is sitting in the first house of the country's horoscope. And even if it is not a full-time war, the country could very well face warlike situations. And even if you look around you, the recent protests in Nepal, which are still continuing, by the way, and the violent upsurge in Bangladesh, both of them being India's neighbors, we have seen a glimpse of the war and how ugly it can get. Okay. And this is actually pointing to the symptoms of the disease to come in the next 7 years. Okay. And Adra is the nakshatra of storms. So storms will come in the form of problems. And as a nation, we all have to be prepared for this. Okay. And how the problems will come? The problems will come from the nakshatra where Mars is sitting. Okay. It is sitting in Rahu's nakshatra. So in Mars is sitting in Rahu's nakshatra. Rahu is sitting in the Lagna, and Mars is in the sign of Mercury. And look at Mercury. Mercury is sitting in the third house, in the house of neighbors. So there are going to be problems with the neighbors, especially with Pakistan and Bangladesh. And there could be some kind of mischief activated on the eastern as well as the northeastern parts of India. Okay. And if you look at the third house of India's horoscope, many planets are sitting there. Even the dispositor of Mars, which is Mercury, is sitting there. Okay. So, you know, if you look at the patterns since independence, there always has been some form or the other, problems in some form or the other coming with the neighbors. Okay. And to put things in perspective, India has always been good, to her neighbors. We have always been the big brother towards our neighbors, whether it is Pakistan, whether it is Bangladesh, whether it is Nepal. But then, at the end of the day, what happens is the neighbors, they end up threatening us. And you look at the situation of Bangladesh, there is a lot of hatred coming for India as well as Indians. Why? For no reason. We fought a war with Pakistan to liberate Bangladesh. We lost our soldiers, we lost our resources. We fed a lot of Bangladeshi people who were living in India as refugees. And now, if you look at Bangladesh, it has been threatening us. You'll see all those videos and everything coming out from Bangladesh, threatening us with consequences. And even with Nepal, Nepal has a very anti-India attitude. We have a deep, cultural relationship with Nepal. Sita, goddess Sita, Devi Sita is said to be from Nepal, right? So even if you look at Sri Lanka, they have lost a prime minister, right? They've lost their prime minister, they've lost their president, and even we lost our prime minister, Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, because of their activities. And you look at you look at Maldives, which has taken a very hostile attitude, towards India. And obviously, Pakistan is always there to give us the headache, right? So it has been a perennial. The neighbors have always been a perennial problem with India. And even if you look at China, although our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has, extended his friendship with China, you cannot trust China at all because China is engaged in a proxy war with India. They have a policy of bleeding India with 1,000 cuts, and even Bhutan is equally erratic, right? And same with Burma, right? So to be fair, there is no direct enmity, but then if you look at various groups or operating from Burma, operating from Bhutan, whether it is the Ulfa rebels in Assam or the Naga rebels or even the situation in Manipur, Mizoram, Myanmar or Burma has a big role in it. Okay, so these problems are bound to increase in Mars Mahadasha, and we'll have problems from the northwest and the northern frontier as well. I'll make a separate video on that, and there could be some war front activity in the northeastern part of the country as well. And if you look at the zodiac sign where Mars is present and the house in which it is present, it rules the eastern region and northeastern region. So these regions are going to be very much under scrutiny. And as soon as Mars moves into the second month or the sixth month of its Mahadasha, you'll see that our country is going to face a lot of challenges from the eastern and the northeastern boundaries. Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar will all cause serious problems to India in from many fronts. Okay, and Mars is in Ardra, so you can expect a lot of storms to come, even in the physical sense. There are going to be a lot of cyclones in this country, and there could be a lot of water-related calamities. And when the Mahadasha of Mars starts, the society starts becoming very violent. Anger starts increasing, violence starts increasing. Communal violence can start increasing because Mars is situated in Rahu's nakshatra, and there could be incidents of loot and arson. There could be fights amongst people. Maybe a situation similar to a civil war where one group fights versus the other. And remember, as a country, we have a lot of fault lines, whether it is caste, whether it is religion, whether it is language. We suffer from a lot of issues that can cause turmoil in the long run. Okay, and there could be, storms and cyclones, as I mentioned previously. Earthquakes can also happen because Mars is Bhumiputra, and remember, Mars is the lord of 12th house, so it is also the lord of the 7th house. So you can expect some pandemic diseases to come in this country as well. Okay, the general health of this country is not going to be good or very good in this Mahadasha. As individually, people might have to face health challenges. Diseases like cancer will increase, chronic diseases are going to increase, and the expenditure of the government as well as the people are going to increase on the health front. Okay, so make sure that you have a good insurance covering you and your family. Now, Mars also, uncontrolled Mars also represents infidelity. So adultery and corruption can also increase. There can be an increase in the tendency to consume drugs. On a lower level, Mars represents laziness and indecisiveness. So that is also going to increase. That is also going to increase. Now, the question is whether this entire Mahadasha is going to be bad. Of course not. There would be some bright patches as well, right? It depends on the Antardashas. So obviously the entire Mahadasha is not going to be bad, but the first 2.5 years are going to be difficult. That means till 2027, it is going to be a very challenging period. And then there would be some kind of a calm before the storm. And after that, the period from 2030 to 2030 is going to, sorry, from 2030 to 2032 is going to be very, very challenging. Okay. Now, when the times are challenging, it increases our fighting capabilities. And it is very important that the government makes all sorts of arrangements to fight opponents within the country as well as outside the country. Right. So it's very important that we build up our health, we build up our immune system, we build up our infrastructure, right? And we try to plug out the gaps, whatever exists in the professional, in the personal, as well as in the social fronts. Okay. And remember, Mars also rules defense and metallurgy. So during this period, India is also going to make some significant purchases or some significant strides in the field of defense, metals, metallurgy, defense, health, all these things are going to boom in the latter part of Mahadasha. And India is going to make a lot of progress in these sectors after 2032. Right? Now, about the remedies. Okay. The first thing is you have to be positive. Okay. You have to be positive. And the biggest remedy for the people for the country is, of course, it's people, right? So, if you are positive, everyone maintains a positive outlook despite the challenges that might come up. Obviously, things are going to be easy, right, in these difficult times. And remember, Mars is in the constellation of Ardra. Now, Ardra is ruled by Shiva. Okay, Ardra is ruled by Shiva or Rudra. So, if you worship Rudra, or in a way, if you worship the entire Shiva family, it's going to be very, very effective. Lord Subramanya, Lord Kartikeya, or Lord Shanmukha rules the planet Mars. Remember, Hanuman does not rule Mars. It's always Shanmukha or Kartikeya. Okay, so if you can worship Lord Kartikeya individually, it's going to be very, very effective. And remember, Mars denotes the army. Mars denotes the police. Mars also denotes all the freedom fighters who sacrificed their lives for our country. So if you can donate something in their memory, to the Army Welfare Fund, or to the, let's say, to the Police Welfare Fund, it's going to be very, very effective. Okay. And remember, Mars is also in the Nidhana Amsha. If you look at if you are a student of astrology, and if you look at the Navamsha, so Mars is in the Nidhana Amsha. Okay, so this does not mean Mars is in the Amsha of death. Okay, Bharat is not going to die in this Mahadasha, but then there are going to be many challenges, many obstacles, right? And as time progresses, we will have some more videos where I'll speak more on how this Mahadasha is going to bring its own set of challenges. I'll make a separate video on the problems that might come from the northeastern and the northern and the eastern parts of India. Okay. If you like this video, please share, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends and family if you think this is going to benefit them. And this is not scaremongering. As I said, this is going to be an important video. So please share it with your friends. Please take all the necessary precautionary measures that can be taken. And hopefully these 7 years are not going to be much difficult as predicted. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon in yet another video. Namaste. Om Gurave Namah.